This is our SANKOFA Virtuous Women Edition moment. Again, I'm Linda. My maiden name is Jennings. My last name is Smith. I am originally from Ypsilanti, Michigan, born, raised. I was born at Byron Memorial Hospital, which no longer exists. I have never lived anywhere else but Michigan, Ypsilanti. And I'm going by the SANKOFA questions that are on the page here. But I also, it says, please give us your name and where you're originally from and how you came to Brown Chapel. So I came to Brown Chapel because my grandmother, who was Alice Campbell, was a stewardess at Brown Chapel. Originally, my mom and I belonged to Metropolitan Memorial Baptist Church. It was sort of a rule of thumb that if you worked at Ford Motor Company, the generator plant, which was down the hill, which my mom did, you sort of went to Metropolitan Memorial Baptist Church because Reverend S.L. Roberson was executive at Ford Motor Company, General Motors, General Generator Plant. And if you had a job there, you probably got a job there because of him. So typically, a lot of people, Black people that worked at the plant went to his church. And I assume, I don't know this, but I assume my mom and I migrated to Brown Chapel because my grandmother was always there and a stewardess there. Along with Mrs. Alexandra, I remember, and Mrs. Effie Pitts. Sandy, I don't know if you remember those names, but yeah, so I also added to that question to also tell us something about you, your favorite things to do, hobbies, something that's unique about you, anything you care to share. So I am retired from the University of Michigan after 40 plus years. I started as a temp there. I was probably 19 when I started there. I progressed from being a receptionist to being a secretary to being an executive secretary and working for several different departments. And after 40 plus years, retired. I have jazzercise, which is an exercise regimen, for over 27 years up until the pandemic, faithfully. I am pretty consistent in stick-to-itiveness. Once I decide that I'm going to do something, I pretty much stick with it and do it consistently and pretty dependably. I love music, all types of music. I love the arts, movies, dance, theater. I like fashion. So those are some things I could share about myself. My favorite thing to do is to listen to music. I like Christian music, R&B, jazz, soul, reggae, hip hop, if it's decent and in order. Moving on, the second question is, please share a little history of one of your fondest memories of being a member of Brown Chapel. One of my fondest memories and one of my earliest memories of being at Brown Chapel was my sister actually got married at Brown Chapel, and I was a flower girl, and I probably was 6. At that point, my mom and my grandma mom might have been members, but I was not a member, and I don't think my mom was either. But in those days, if you had a family member that was a member of the church, they let you use the church or do activities at the church. So it probably would have been the early 60s when my sister got married there, because I was born in 1954, and I'm sure I was probably about 6 years old when she got married, and I was a flower girl at that church. Also remember, of course, my grandmother wearing her white uniform, because in those days, the stewardesses wore specific white uniforms with little pillbox black hats, and sat on the front row. And I just remember my grandmother always having her uniform nice and fresh and clean, and that little pillbox hat with the little tie under the neck. That was one of my fondest memories. A good memory is when we did the play Trade Jubilee. That was a very fond memory for me, and I enjoyed it immensely. Reverend Dahlberry was the organizer of that play, and it was done so well. And we had a performance at Ypsilanti High School. We had a great attendance, and it just left a mark in my heart, in my memory of being a part of that. Another memory of mine would be when I was baptized at the church. It was December 8th, 1985, under Reverend Hearn. I just remember that as being a good day for myself. Let's see, another memory was before I probably was ever a member of the church, even though I went to church often, but was not a member, was growing up with the Daniels children. So those would be the times when I was probably grade school, junior high. Reverend Daniels was the minister, and his children, at least one of his children was my age, Norma Daniels. So I remember, playing with those kids and hanging out with them and just having a good time with them. Let's see, I'm looking at my notes, y'all. Anybody got any questions so far? Any questions? No?
I have a lot of questions. Keep going.
Okay. The next question was share with you all a bit about past and current involvement. I have been a member of the steward board. I served as the steward board secretary for a number of years. Of course, like I said, being a part of the Trade Jubilee play. I also have been a member of the Committee on Stewardship and Finance, which I enjoy doing that. That's about it for that. The next question is, as a global church with a local touch, we want to bring church to the community and community to the church. How can Brown Chapel families take on a larger role in this effort? I feel that we, just being ourselves and being open and who you are to people, let them know that you are Christian and how much you enjoy being at the church, will bring people in. I think nowadays, I think people feel like church people are so different than people that aren't churched. And I think we have to show them that we're regular people. We make mistakes. We are not, we're not without sin. We have done things that everybody else has done, but we just choose to follow Christ. And just being ourselves, I think, to other people. When you see people in the street, let them know that you are filled with love and kindness and goodness, and that is your aim. I think that brings people in more than anything. Of course, having activities that appeal to people is good, but I just think if in your everyday life, just being who you are brings people to you. I mean, inviting people just to come and experience what you experience every time you're with a group of people. The next question says, we have heard previous discussions that the average age in Ypsilanti is 25 years. Churches all around struggle with bringing in that age group. How can Brown Chapel set itself apart from the rest of our efforts to draw in that demographic? And it's the same, I think that's the same answer as the previous question. Young people in that age group, a lot of times they just they're looking for something. I think that's why we have so much gun violence, is that people just don't care about other people. I just think showing them that, you know, you care, and that, you know, you can offer them something, you know, other than violence and, you know, whatever they're into at that age. I really don't have a lot of thoughts about it, but I just think, you know, reaching out to people at that age, you know, you need to have friends that are that age. I mean, to show them that I was 25 once too. So I know where you are and what you're going through. And then the next question is, what are your prayers and desires for Brown Chapel now and 170 years from now? I have no idea, to be honest. I just hope that we continue to thrive and grow and be a place that people can feel welcome and cherished and honored, and a place where they can feel like they're among friends. And that's it, guys.